Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be ranking all 53 books that I read in 2024. It's a good time of year for that. I really wanted to do this last year, but I thought about it way too late. It was already like March or something, so I was like, I'll do it next year. And so here we are. It's perfect. I love it. I went insane reading it. Would do it again. No notes. Actually, probably a couple notes, but I am ignoring the notes. I don't care. I cannot explain what happened to my brain chemistry while I read these books. I don't think I slept for like 2 nights straight. No, thank you. Not for me. In 2024, I did not hit my reading goal of 60 books because I got into like the biggest reading slump of my life. About halfway through the year, I got into like a 5-month reading slump where I only read like 1 book a month or something, which is way less than I usually read. But overall, I had a pretty good reading year. I read a lot of new 5-star, 6-star reads, which was awesome. I also read a lot of kind of meh books, but that happens any year. And yeah, I read a lot of books that I'm excited to talk about. I love tier ranking videos. They're always like one of my favorite, or one of the first videos that I click on when I see it on my feed. I don't know why. I think I just love compartmentalization. I love when things get put into like their little categories. So I've always wanted to make my own tier ranking video, and so what better way to do that than to rank all the books that I read in 2024. And so yeah, I'll be doing that with you today. Thanks for joining me. Let's get into the tiers. Okay, so the first tier that we have is Sorry to This Man. This is the bottom tier. These are books that I either don't remember reading, like they left literally no impact on me whatsoever, or they're books that I unfortunately remember too much because they were just not at all for me. And yeah, when I go through these, just remember everyone's book tastes are completely different. Something that I really disliked, someone you might love, and that's okay. And everyone can have different opinions, and that's great. So I'm not saying these are bad books. I'm saying they are not books that were for me. The next tier that we have is because these books were and that's all. The next here is 8 But Left Crumbs. These are books that I really liked. They're good books, but they had some problems, or I had some problems with them. They left something to be desired. The second to top tier is I Loved This, which is extremely self-explanatory. These are books that I loved, but they didn't hit like that, they didn't have the special sparkle, the special something that will make me think about them forever and ever. And then the top tier is I Am Once Again Asking You to Read This Book. These are books that I talk about way too much with my friends and family and everybody on the street. These are books that I will like stop you in the coffee shop if you're reading it. These are books that they're just like 6 out of 5 stars. I would give them every star in the world. I would go up into the sky and, capture all of the stars for them. When I uploaded the books, they didn't upload in any order, I don't think. They're completely random, and so these are not in the order that I read them or in the order that I liked them or whatever. These are just random order, so I'm just gonna randomly choose them. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to start with. I guess I'll just, okay. We're gonna start with Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I really, really liked this book. I talked about it, I think, in my January wrap-up last year. I think I'm gonna put in I Loved This because it was incredible, amazing, and super amazing, wonderful. Loved it, loved everything about it. But it's not a book that I am like constantly thinking about. It's not a book that like kept me awake at night. It's also a book that I had to read on audiobook because for some reason I couldn't get into it in text, and so I think it has to go in the I Loved This tier, but I did love it a lot. Very good book. Okay, I think next I'm gonna rank Ruthless Vows. Divine Rivals was like one of my favorite books that I read in 2023. By far, I loved that book. I loved it so much. I still love it. It's one of my new favorite books that year. So I was super excited for Ruthless Vows, but it just did not at all hit for me. I think I have to put it in the tier because it took a series or a story and characters that I really loved and turned it into something that like bored me. Yeah, I just did not have a good time with this book, and I'm not the only one that felt that way. I think I've heard a lot of people say that. But yeah, it took me forever to read. Should not have, because I ate Divine Rivals up in like a sitting. So that was one of my biggest disappointments this year, I will say. It won that award. Yeah. Okay, next let's let's do One Dark Window. Oh my gosh. I think I have to put this in Ate But Left Crumbs. I know lots of people absolutely adore this duology, and I did really like it. Remember this tier, like I liked these books a lot. It just was missing something for me. It was like, I don't know, I wanted a little bit more from it, and I don't know what that more was, but all I do know it was like missing something for me. Yeah. Okay, this is hard actually, you guys. This is honestly difficult. Okay. I haven't thought about this ranking at all before I started this video. Okay, so next we're going to go, or since I did Gideon, maybe I should rank the other ones. So next let's rank Harrow the 9th, which is the second one in the trilogy. Or it's not a trilogy, it's gonna be like a bunch of books probably. Okay, so Harrow is hard because this book was awesome, but it was it wasn't quite up there with Gideon in my opinion. It was super good though. I don't know, I might change that later. But Nona, the third one, I will put in I loved this. That was a great book. All of them are great books. That's an incredible series. But Harrow is just like so confusing. If you've read it, you know like this is like the most confusing book I've ever read in my life. In a good way, I liked it, but I also had no idea what was going on for like 80% of the book, which was kind of a difficult reading experience. But then Nona was incredible, and I can't wait for the next one, but we probably won't get it for like 10 years, so here we are. Okay, next I'm going to rank, this book is called Beyond the Self. It's one of the only nonfiction books that I read this year. You know, it was good. Yeah, that's all. It was fine. Okay, let's rank Caraval. Caraval is by Stephanie Garber, and I think I'm going to put it in I loved this because I did love it, and it started like this insane obsession with Stephanie Garber's books for me that lasted quite a while last year. I couldn't think or read about anything else while I was reading her books, so I think I have to put it in that tier. So while we're at it, why don't I just do the next ones? I'm gonna try to. Where's Legendary? Okay, here it is. Legendary is the second one in the series. I have to put Legendary here because the main character, Tella, is like not, I just don't like her very much. And then Finale, the last one in that series. Actually, I might honestly put Legendary and Finale both in the tier. This is hard, actually. I don't know. So now that why don't I just do all of Stephanie Garber's books right now? And let's do Once Upon a Broken Heart. Once Upon a Broken Heart is going in. I loved this. Borderline, top tier. Borderline, I am once again asking you to read this book. Yeah, I went actually insane when I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Like, I cannot explain what happened to my brain chemistry while I read these books. I don't think I slept for like 2 nights straight. I'm actually not exaggerating. I like got a couple hours of sleep because I was so in like to an insane level obsessed with these books. I read them right after the Caraval trilogy, and they're like connected worlds, connected trilogies. And so you see a couple, or like one of the characters, carry over from the Caraval series, and so it's, in my opinion, good to read them. Okay, why am I like rambling about this? But anyway, Once Upon a Broken Heart just like did something to me, but it got worse with each book, or better, or you know, what do we want to call it. So the next one, A Ballad of Never After, most people will put this higher than the last one, A Curse for True Love, but what can I tell you? A Curse for True Love is like one of the best books that I've read this year. Not because necessarily it's like a perfect book. It has flaws, and I'm aware of the flaws, but I simply don't care. Like, I genuinely... I don't care what anyone else's opinion is. This book is perfect in my eyes, and I didn't sleep reading it. I stayed up all night reading it and went to sleep at like 6 in the morning, I think. Yeah, it's perfect. I love it. I went insane reading it. Would do it again. There's a lot of good books here. I'm gonna rank One for My Enemy. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my god. I'm gonna rank One for My Enemy, 8 But Left Crumbs. Very, very good book. I enjoyed myself. I think it just wasn't 100% for me. Or there was just some things that I wish that it did that it didn't. This is a cool kind of like Romeo and Juliet mafia kind of book. But it's fantasy. It's cool. I liked it. But it didn't completely stick out for me. Let's just rank A Court of Frost and Starlight. Sorry to this man. Yeah, I did not like this at all. It was not at all for me. And that's someone who really liked the ACOTAR series. I mean, I think ACOTAR is not my favorite series at all anymore, but I still, like, when I read them, I loved them. But ACOFAS was genuinely not good, in my opinion. Okay. I think it was unnecessary and like a little bit just dumb. But A Court of Silver Flames, on the other hand, I did love it. It was really good. Sorry, I'm a Nesta girl. I loved her. I loved this book. It was great. I loved just like seeing her journey and stuff. So here we are. I will defend her forever. Let's rank Mysteries of Thorn Manor. I am once again asking you to read this book. It was awesome. Mysteries of Thorn Manor is this cute little novella that comes after Sorcery of Thorns, which I thought was a standalone until I discovered that there was this little novella that was like the same characters and stuff. And I ate this book up in like 2 hours, maybe hour and a half. I couldn't put it down. I loved it so much. And I'm probably gonna reread it again soon. Honestly, it was a really cozy, comforting, awesome, adorable read. Because Sorcery of Thorns was one of my favorite books I read in 2023, and so it was just great to revisit the characters, and it was perfect for, I think I read it while I was like waiting for Legendary to come in the library. I don't know. Okay. Next, let's rank the Cruel Prince series. Okay, The Cruel Prince. I loved this. It's as good as everyone says. In my opinion, amazing, beautiful, wonderful. But Wicked King, was also incredible. But was it? I think it's better than The Cruel Prince, but I don't know if it's top tier. Okay, but Queen of Nothing also goes and I loved this. I think the whole series goes and I loved this because I loved it a lot. I ate up that series like it was the best breakfast I've ever had. Okay. Happy Place. I'm once again asking you to read this book. Beautiful, wonderful. Book Lovers was one of my favorite books in 2023. Happy Place, one of my favorite books in 2024. So I guess if I read one Emily Henry book a year, it's going to be like my favorite book every year. I don't know. I should just read all of her books, but I feel like they hit when I read them at the right time. Happy Place I loved and I related to the main character a lot in a lot of ways, and it just was really special to me. I know it's not everyone's favorite Emily Henry. I think it's, honestly, I really think it's just whether you relate to the character or not. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to put in 8 but left crumbs, but that's a very shaky position. I'm not sure, because when I first read it, I was like, this is an incredible book. I loved it. But then the more I thought about it, it dropped a little bit, and I haven't really thought about it. I read it in February, and then I haven't really thought about it all year since. So that tells me it's not that impactful of a book for me. So I'm just going to put it in there. Mid-tier. Okay. Let's get into my T. Kingfisher obsession that started this year. I think I found my new favorite author this year in T. Kingfisher. I first read Thornhedge. Yes. I loved it. It's a really short fairy tale retelling book that she has. Oh, but I didn't love it as much as The Cruel Prince and stuff, so maybe it needs to go here. Yeah, maybe it needs to go there. Okay, yeah. Okay, perfect. Yes, that's correct. It was a really, really cute book, but it didn't have a super lasting impact on me or anything. I just really liked it. But it did make me realize that I immediately needed to read everything that T. Kingfisher has ever written. So that's what I did for the next few months after that. I'm pretty sure the next Kingfisher books I got into were the Saint of Steel series, which starts with Paladin's Grace, which is immediately going up to, I'm once again asking you to read this book, because holy shit, it's perfect. This whole series honestly might go up there. Paladin's Strength is the next one. That's definitely going up there. Hope and Faith, I think, will go in the I loved this tier. Okay, so this whole series is a connected, I want to say cozy romance fantasy series, but it probably doesn't actually fall in the cozy fantasy genre, because they're also a little bit gruesome. There's a little bit of horror elements in there, because Kingfisher writes some horror and she loves sprinkling it in to all of her books a little bit. So it probably doesn't actually fall in the cozy fantasy series or genre, but it feels like it should. They're some of the coziest books I've ever read. I think the Saint of Steel series is criminally underrated. People just don't know about it, and they should, because they're incredible. If you like fantasy romance or mysteries and also fantasy and also a little bit of horror, but also just really sweet characters that you fall in love with immediately, read these books yesterday, because they're perfect. I think I'm actually, yeah, they're perfect. Okay, continuing on with my T. Kingfisher, just absolute obsession for the year. I think next I read her Clockwork Boys series, or the Clock Tour War or something. I don't know. These are some of the older books that she wrote. I think I'm going to put them both in 8 but left crumbs. They're still really good, but I think you should definitely start with her other books, because these ones, you can definitely tell that she was a little bit newer to writing when she wrote these ones. They're set in the same world as the Saint of Steel series, and as Sword Heart, which I will also put in 8 beloved crumbs. No, I'm actually going to put it in A. A lot of people know about Sword Heart and they don't know about the Saint of Steel series, which I'm honestly devastated about because Sword Heart feels like a less finished version of those books for some reason. Like, it's set in the same world, and it's also a fantasy romance, but it was a little bit boring for me. I still really liked it because I just love T. Kingfisher's writing and I'll read like anything she ever writes. But this one, there was a lot of like going from one point to the next point and then just like going back to point A. It was like literally just like travel from here to there and then back again and then back again and then back again. It was like, I was like, okay, why do we have to keep doing this? But anyway, I think the last Kingfisher book that I read of the year was Null and Bone, which is easily going, and I loved this. Awesome book. The more time passes, the higher it gets in my mind, and it's like borderline. I'm at once again asking you to read this book because I just keep thinking about it, which I think means that it's like, I don't know, maybe I should actually rank it higher. Because I keep thinking about it all the time. But this one is actually in a different world than a bunch of her other books. It's another, like, I don't know if this one's a fairy tale retelling, but it, like, feels kind of like it is. So it's about a nun and her skeleton dog trying to save someone. And she goes on this big adventure to save this person. And she picks up this cast of really quirky, fun characters, like this old lady, this old witch lady, and this sensitive big man. There's like a little bit of like a fae element to it, but in a very folklore type of way. I just loved it. This is a great book. I might rate it higher, but no, I won't. I don't know. But something that I will rank, I'm once again asking you to read this book, is The Fifth Season. Yeah, this was by far the best book that I read in 2024, and possibly the best book I've ever read. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I loved it. I need to stop saying I loved it because this is more than that, okay? Yeah, The Fifth Season, hands down, best book I read this year. And then you turn around and ask me, hey, why didn't you read the rest of the series this year then? Because there's 2 more books. I don't know. I can't answer that question. Maybe I wasn't emotionally ready for it to be over yet, okay? But this year, 2025, I'm reading the other ones. So let's do Stolen Heir and Prisoner's Throne. I really liked The Stolen Heir, and then Prisoner's Throne was like okay for me. They're both still Holly Black, so I still really enjoyed these books. Okay, the more that I'm looking at this, the more I'm like, Ruthless Vows should be lower, honestly, because Legendary Finale, Sword Heart, and Prisoner's Throne are all like really solid books that I really liked, and then Ruthless Vows just like was not. So yeah, we're changing that actually. Cool, but yeah, I really enjoyed those books. They just weren't as special as the Cruel Prince series to me. Anyway, I think it's time to rank Throne of Glass. I read the whole series this year and it put me into my 5-month book slump. Throne of Glass is gonna go in good book, but not great. Same with Crown of Midnight, in my opinion. These are my opinions. They're my opinion, okay? I still really liked them, let's be clear. And then I read Assassin's Blade third, and I'm glad I read it third. I think it's the perfect place to read it. I think it makes a lot of sense in the plot to read it third. I know people have different opinions about that. Heir of Fire, I loved it. Yeah, I know. It's like one of my favorite books in the series. Queen of Shadows, I think I loved it. Okay. Empire of Storms. I loved it, but not quite as much, to be honest. There was just a lot going on. I was like, can we calm down a little bit here? Okay. Tower of Dawn. I liked it. It was good. I enjoyed myself. But Kingdom of Ash, I am once again asking you to read this book. But unfortunately, to do that, I have to ask you to read the entire 8-book series. So, sorry, but you're going to have to do that. I loved it so much. Kingdom of Ash is genuinely one of the best books ever. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Oh my god. Yeah, no, Kingdom of Ash made reading the entire series so worth it, just for that book alone, honestly. Even if I had hated all the other ones, it would have been worth it to read that one, even though obviously I didn't hate them, I loved them. But yeah, perfect, amazing, no notes. Actually, probably a couple notes, but I am ignoring the notes. I don't care. Okay? Complete opposite. A Fate Inked in Blood. No. Okay? No. Same with Check and Mate. No, thank you. Not for me, okay? But Bride, also by Allie Hazelwood, like Check and Mate. Yes. I loved this. I am being absolutely insane right now and thinking of, no, I'm not going to move it up. Okay. It's going there. Bride, yep, the hype was real for me. For me, the hype was real. I understand why some people wouldn't like this book. It's a little bit unhinged, but it was perfect and I loved it. Okay, now just really quick, this is another nonfiction book that I read. I have to put it here because it did change my life a lot. It's about acceptance and commitment therapy. Good book. But I know that's not what we're here for, right? Okay, so let's dive into Fate and Furies, which was the 3rd book in the Legends of Thesmar series. I loved this one. I think this was my favorite one by far in this series, honestly. These are books by Helen Schurer. Don't know how to say her name, sorry. But they're like giving Witcher 100%. Like, the male main character in this series is the Witcher, and you cannot convince me otherwise. I'm pretty sure that's like what she intended when she wrote these books, and it completely delivered. They delivered. Shadow and Storms, very good, not quite as good. This was the last one in the series. I loved it. I had a great time. This is one I think I read in my last video where I was getting out of my reading slump, and it was the first book that helped me get out of the slump. So thank you, Shadow and Storms. Thank you, Helen Schurer. You did what you needed to do. Spectacular. I'm so sorry. This is another one of my biggest disappointments this year. This book is like a novella, like a holiday novella in the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, and I loved the other books so much that I'm really sad that this one did not even like a little bit live up to my expectations. Yeah, the vibes were there for the first part of this novella, but then things got weird. It's like a YA series, but she started like turning it into like weird YA dark romance, and like, I'm not hating on dark romance. I have enjoyed dark romance books before, but like, not the time or place. Sorry. If anybody else has read this, let me know what you think, because that was just weird. It was weird. Speaking of weird, Terry Pratchett, Weird Sisters, I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was fine, you know? It was a good time. Jade War is the 2nd book in the Jade City series. I think that's what the series is called. By Fonda Lee. These books are taking me like 3 years to read, I swear to God. I read the first one in 2023 and absolutely loved it. I think it was one of my favorite books of the year, and I read it pretty quickly. But then Jade War took me like 2 or 3 months to read. For whatever reason, I was just not feeling it quite as much, but I still thought it was an incredible, amazing, wonderful book with a really good plot. It was just like, ooh, took me a long time. And I'm feeling that with Jade Legacy too. The third one I've been reading for a couple months now, and I'm only 50% through. They're good, but like, ooh. Oh, I never ranked Two Twisted Crowns. Okay, I ranked One Dark Window in this tier. I'm ranking Two Twisted Crowns, and I loved this. Because I loved it. Wait, did I? No. I really liked it. I didn't love it. I guess that's the answer. Okay. I really did like the inclusion of a second POV in this book. We have some new POVs, or maybe not. No, yeah, we have like multiple new POVs in this one, and I did actually really like them, but still not quite loved it. Bone Shard Emperor. I think I'll go in A Beloved Crones. This is the second book in this series. The first one is The Bone Shard Daughter. I think it's a really good series, but it's not, it wasn't something that I immediately needed to read the third book. It wasn't something that I completely loved. I just thought it was good, But A Study in Drowning, saved the best for last. Truly, I'm once again asking you to read this book. Yeah, it was perfect. I loved it. And just for fun, let me just that was the last one. So let me just rank the top tier. This might be really hard. Okay, 5th season comes first. All right. This is hard. Actually, I don't think I want to do this. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, but here we have it. This is the tier list. This was way, 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 way harder to do than I thought it would be. So don't hold me to any of these opinions. They might change at any moment in time. Also, looking at this, the difference between the Sorry to This Man tier and the tier is like astronomical. Like seriously astronomical. Because a lot of the books in the tier I truly really, 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 really loved and enjoyed reading. They just weren't, they weren't quite it for me. But the Sorry to This Man tier, I don't want to see your face again. Sorry. Okay, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Like I said, pretty good year. A lot of books in the higher tiers there. A lot of my new favorite books ever. But, we can do better in 2025. I think with every year, I'm getting a better understanding of what my reading tastes are. But also they change, But I think if I stay more true to my reading tastes, then I will find an even better understanding. It's been a long time now. I've been talking for quite a while. I feel like, yeah, thanks for coming along with me on this journey. I hope you got something out of this, even if it was just thinking that my taste in books is terrible. Even though you wouldn't think that because my taste in books is immaculate. Just kidding. It's not at all. I'm aware of that. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I've been talking for a while, you guys. I'm still not used to talking on video at all. And so this is, we're on a journey together. But this was fun. This was a good time. I don't know if I talked, I simultaneously feel like I talked too much and didn't talk enough about the books as I was ranking them. So here we are, having fun. But thanks for coming with me, and I'll see you next time.